Welcome to the Daily Crossing Players of the Week, episode number 3. Great to have you with us. There's so much going on right now that it would be impossible to highlight just about every single player that is having an impact on everything that we do in business-wise, economy, news. Just a couple of things that we want to give to your perspective. We chose a couple of the people that just because of what they have going on and the impact that they have, nationwide, and also potentially your likeness. You know what I mean? People that might be connected to you if you're paying attention. So let me go right into it because here are some of these people right now are going to be significant players. It's going to be impossible not to hear about them anywhere in the news, and we want to understand a little bit more about what's going on with them. The first one is going to be Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is the senator from West Virginia. This is a man that has been a senator since November 15, 2020. That's when he became the senator of West Virginia. Today, he's the senior senator of West Virginia for many years. As a matter of fact, I will say the last 10 years, I've been watching, more carefully his development, his communication, his conversations. And at some point, a lot of people were making fun of him, saying, "Why don't you just, announce that why don't you just become a Republican?" You know what I mean? You're aligning very much with many of those ideas. Somebody that you can see him struggling within his own party, little by little, making statements that will make it sound like I said, like he was more of a Republican than a Democrat. And maybe, listen, what happens with certain people, right? And it's very easy to criticize somebody to say, "Well, you betraying the party, you betraying," but people's perspective evolve, and I'm not going to apologize for the man. There's plenty of people. I read so many negative things about this man and how he's selling out and how he's doing so many things. But at the same time, a very significant thing that took place this week, which is he made the announcement that he's not going to run for his re-election. He's not going to seek re-election as a senator for the state of Virginia. So what does that mean? And then there's a statement even in his website. If you go into his website, there's actually a statement when he's announcing that he's not going to be running for re-election. He said, "I will fight to unite the country, especially I will fight to unite the middle class." Right? And so what that means is that he's announcing that he's going to be going around, listening, talking to people, making sure that he's potentially what everybody is suggesting is that he's setting up a presidential run. Let me say it from that perspective. That's the feedback that we're getting from everybody back. That we're getting back from everybody. So who does it help? Who does it hurt? Right? So middle class. When you're talking about middle class, you're talking about also a lot of people that are independents. And when you're talking about middle class, you're talking about people that will be also leaning to a more conservative perspective. This is the people that went from being young, protesting, burning flags, and doing a lot of crazy stuff out there to say, "I have a family, I have children, I got to pay taxes, I have a job, time to mature with the country," right? And time to allow my perspectives to mature. You have a lot of people that as they get older, you can see them, making a transition, shifting to a more conservative perspective. It's just a rite of passage, I guess, So, or that would be one way to see it. So if he actually makes a presidential run, and most people are saying, get ready for that announcement. If he actually makes a presidential run, who would he be drawing more votes from? Or meaning, and who's going to take votes? Who is he taking votes away from? Is it going to be affecting a potential Donald Trump as a president, or Ron DeSantis running for president? Or meaning, is it going to be taken away from the Republican Party? Or is it going to be taken away from, being that he's a Democrat, and there's a lot of Kennedy Democrats, there's a lot of Bill Clinton Democrats, and I'm not talking about Hillary Clinton, I'm talking about Bill Clinton Democrats, a lot of people that were either very much center or center right. So here you have somebody that, again, if you look back just about every single interview, his concerns, his perspective is somebody that is either very much center, and it comes across as a very reasonable person. And that is the argument. The argument is that he's entering an arena where a lot of people are saying, all I'm looking for is a reasonable player, somebody that you're going to have the ability to have a reasonable conversation, that's not going to be making these extreme statements and taking these very extreme positions nationally and internationally. So I think that he's a threat to everybody if he absolutely makes a choice to run for president. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. I'm inviting you. Definitely, I will say, based on every communication and some of the things that he has done in the Senate, I will say this man is a good man. You know what I mean? Definitely worth following, keeping an eye on what's going on with him. I'm inviting you to take a closer look. I'm inviting you to ask yourself, and this is an important exercise, right? When somebody can potentially become a president, right? It's healthy to accept the invitation of following that person just a little closer, just to see, get a better idea who they are, how they think, so that you can start formulating as to whether or not the choices that we have right now, if they don't become likable choices. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going down the same path as with this the last time. And at some point, you're going to be asking, really, as a country, do we not have better candidates? Do we not have younger candidates? Do we not have a more the ability to have just to be able to come to the table, to have a more reasonable conversations, which it appears that right now we are not able to have. So I'm inviting you to take a look at this man. Senator Joe Manchin has done a phenomenal job, and I think it would be extremely helpful if he actually enters the arena. I think that the conversation will be elevated and not. I don't see us having a negative impact on any way, shape, or form. I think it's good for the country. I think it's good for every single one of us. That would be a healthy voice to have, to be added to the presidential run. So, but anyway, let me move on to the second player of the week. This is somebody that just about everybody, unless you live under a rock, everybody knows who this man is, and I'm referring to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, the number one, the king of podcasters. You know what I mean? The number one, the guy who is the GOAT at this point. There are other people that are doing phenomenal work out there, phenomenal jobs, but nobody right now even come close to where Joe happens to be in terms of the audience that he's drawing per episode. He's drawing about 11 to 12 million people per episode. He also does very well. He's a guy that's making about $100,000 per episode, doing about 2 per week. He's bringing in over $14 million a year with consistency. So he's doing very well. Joe is doing okay. He's got plenty of money to eat the elk steaks that he likes to have. But Joe did something that nobody ever believed that it was going to be possible. When the whole idea of communicating through this type of platforms, became more popular, but at the early stages, when some people were looking for players, who was going to become the GOAT, who was going to be, I know for a fact, and by that's not my opinion, that's him saying it. He never entered the arena assuming that he was going to get to the level that he is right now. He just wanted to have an honest conversation. He definitely, that's one of the things about this man, though. He's and one of his principles is just to be true to yourself. The right people will follow you. The right people will connect you. You're going to be able to connect with certain audience, not necessarily with everybody. We don't. That's just the nature of the animal. You know what I mean? You're not going to have everybody following you. But he connected to the right people because he connected to a lot of people. I don't want to label it right or wrong people. There's no such a thing. He just connected to enough people because they were able to see that he was always having an honest conversation with everybody. And the original deal that he signed with Spotify, right, in 2020 was a $200 million deal. Guess what? That deal is ending at the end of this year. It was a 3-year contract, $200 million. Everybody is saying, well, he is in a very good position to negotiate. Definitely, what everybody agrees is that contract, whatever contract they're going to be signing, is definitely worth no less than the original $200 million that he signed. So don't be surprised if you see a 250, 300 million, and depending on the length of time, maybe at this point, Spotify is just saying, you know what, how about we lock up Joe for about 5 years, opposed to just doing 3, so you can see a $500 million deal. It's going to be something extremely unique. Tells you about where this style of communication is going. Most people today just say, we just don't believe in legacy media anymore. We just don't believe the traditional channels of communication are not really giving us the answers that we're looking for. The traditional channels don't come across as they come across. Not only that they come across as very dishonest, just constantly pushing an agenda, not allowing any real conversation, any real communication to take place. And this is an indictment. You know what I mean? When you see these things taking place, is people, right? We say the people vote with their feet, they vote with their dollars, they also vote with their views. You know what I mean? It's like if they paying attention to somebody, that means that they are letting go of something that they don't believe that is helping and accommodating, they don't trust. And here you have somebody like Joe has created a platform where everybody that goes in there, let me make this very clear, everybody that goes in there somewhere somehow, I would say they even forget, they get so comfortable, because a lot of people like to say that Joe is a very simple guy. He's I would say that instead of calling him a simple individual, because he's very smart, he's just someone that makes you feel comfortable. He's someone that you have the ability, you can connect to a guy like that. It's very easy for people to connect with him, to the extent that you have some big names that ended up getting in trouble just by because they forgot that it's the hey, it is an interview. We're having a conversation here that at some point is imagine when you get so comfortable in a conversation that you actually end up getting yourself in trouble by being there by some of the things that you said. That happened to Elon Musk. Essentially, one of the reasons why he had to step down as a CEO of Tesla. This happened to Jordan Peterson. It was one of the main reasons why Jordan Peterson had no choice but to go through right now some kind of media adjustment that was imposed by Canada. And finally, even Neil deGrasse Tyson. I've seen some of the best of Neil deGrasse, and I've seen some of the that makes you go like, what were you thinking? Or what are you saying? You're not even. And so imagine that environment where it's that place where when you feel comfortable enough to say that I don't even like my father-in-law, I don't even like my sister-in-law, I don't even like it's that kind of place, right? They can get you in trouble, but it talks a lot about his ability to connect with the people that are listening, to carry a conversation in a way where he is listening and he's allowing that conversation to develop to the point that the people that are listening and connecting to it, they see enough value and they see how helpful it actually becomes. The last person, guys. By the way, Joe, we wish you nothing but the best. Looking forward to see what kind of deal is gonna Spotify is gonna offer you. Hopefully, is nothing less than $500,000, and you deserve every penny. And we hope to see these platforms becoming bigger for everyone. Right? I think it's a great place to have phenomenal conversations. The last person that I want to talk about is, and we're going to do multiple things, and at least the channel is going to be doing multiple things in connection to the next person. This is presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek just had a very intense, I will say, it was a debate of redemption, because his second debate was very flat. He was under attack. It almost looks like he wasn't really ready for that level of I guess once you forget that you have a target in your back and people come at you and you're not necessarily ready for that level of intensity, you can see how people are performing. And the second debate, it almost came across like he wasn't himself. He wasn't able to carry the conversation. He's a very smart guy, quick to establish comebacks, and knows how to say certain things that people will connect to immediately. Ben Shapiro will argue that Vivek has switched his positions from beginning to the end and just about everything. I don't know that I can agree 100%. I don't know that I can agree on that. I don't know that he has switched positions that often about that many issues. But everybody has the right to see their own positions evolve. You know what I mean? We were saying that at the very beginning with Senator Manchin. As a person who's going to be running the country, as a person that can potentially become one day the president of the United States of America, you want to make sure that it's somebody that will have the ability to adjust, to accommodate certain perspectives, to evolve a position. Your core values are your core values. Your core principles are your core principles. But here's the moment. He had a couple phenomenal moments during this debate, but the very opening statement where he takes on, legacy media and lets them know that you are part of the problem. You, when we having this conversation about how information is being manipulated and how people, what they actually get, it's somebody promoting ideas and not necessarily sharing the news with everybody else. The fact that he called them out, and he called them out hard about the laptop for Joe Biden's son, about the whole Russia, the Russia gate, if you want to call it, from that perspective, that it was also proven to be a host, and that the media carry all of those things until today. You still have this crazy person that will show up saying, well, what happened with the Russians? Nothing happened with the Russians in connection to Donald Trump. What happened with the Russians, or that whole file that was always in question, the dossier that was always in question, was actually something that was triggered by Hillary Clinton. Now, most people don't even want to have the conversation about that anymore. But as we go into the next election, and we're looking into so many things that can potentially be manipulated and to be presented as real news or real perspective, it's extremely important that somebody is already holding that accountable ahead of time. It's just a reminder that, hey, we're going to be paying attention to what you do and what you say. But because if you play the same game as you did the last time, we're going to call you out every step of the way. There will be no way, no hiding place. So in that sense, I think that Vivek is doing a phenomenal service to everybody that's actually running. He's doing a phenomenal service for the average American that doesn't even know the level of the gameship and manipulation that takes place when it comes to how news are being delivered. Like I said, and our position is very simple. So this moment, if you hear us talking about more about people from the right, it's not so much that we don't see people from the Democrats or from the left to have something to add when it comes to value to the country, or that I'm questioning who loves or doesn't love the country. We're paying attention to how the economy is working. We're paying attention to who we actually believe would be a better player. I will tell you, out of all the choices that we have out there, if it was between Donald Trump, Joe Biden, 1,000% Donald Trump. That's already a track that was already proven. That's a record that was already established. There's nothing to argue about that. If it was between Ron DeSantis and Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis all day long, because the state of Florida already made it clear that you have somebody that at the executive highest level of the state was able to perform phenomenally. If you're talking about a Nikki Haley and versus Joe Biden, Nikki Haley all day long, her position would be 1,000 times better nationally and internationally, so domestic and foreign, right? And so, but definitely, if you put in a Vivek Ramaswamy next to a Joe Biden, 1,000%, somebody that went from zero to a billionaire, who created multiple businesses, who has entered the world of politics with an incredible amount of knowledge about the Constitution, and has been able to carry a very interesting conversation. We're going to see if the polling numbers, do get any higher for him. We haven't seen it. It's like almost like everybody except for Nikki Haley, but almost everybody has plateaued at some level here right now, which is, again, you got to give credit to Donald Trump for maintaining that position, for holding that much of a difference. But again, a very valuable candidate, an incredible performance in this last debate, the Republican debate. So we wish him well, And I will tell you, here are names, and the people that we spoke about today were people that will be around, will be part of the conversation. I'm inviting you at least to take the time to listen to what they have to say. He's got a number of books out there. Walk Inc. is one of those books that put him on the map. Just see if this is somebody whose ideas you can relate to and you can connect to. With that being said, we're looking forward to, there is so many people that we want to put in front of you, just to make sure that you have the ability to get connected, or at least to understand what kind of contribution they are making to the country, to politics, to the economy, to sports, to so many people that we want to put in front of you, that hopefully, you will have the ability to go back and forth with these videos and say, let me learn a little more about this person. Let me learn a little more about this other person. That's the purpose of this communication, so that you have the ability to pick and choose who do you want to learn a little more about, and why do they matter at this very moment. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, pass it around, let people know that we're going to be doing that this is going to be part of one of the segments that we're going to have going on with the channel, which is the players of the week. All right. So thank you. We'll see you in the next one.